Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lion's Den Show. And here's your host, Cody Robert Judy.
Welcome to the Lion's Den Show. I'm your host and your toast, Cody Robert Judy. Cheers. It's good to be with you. Today is March 6, 2011. It's Sunday, so I thought I'd take a little bit of time and talk about relationships and a little bit about religion or faith. Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's better to go to church or have a relationship with God? If you could only do one or the other, which would you choose? Think about that and we'll come back to it. If you have watched the show enough, you'll recall at the beginning we promised we were going to talk about a lot of things, not just politics, but we were going to dip into the well of a little bit of everything, including religion and relationships and consumer complaints, etc. We have delivered on that promise. Some people are interested in more political shows. Others are actually interested in the other types. But one thing for sure, the reason that we decided to encompass many different aspects of this is because there are real problems for every one of us. That said, I have some news regarding my divorce case. For those who haven't kept track or would like to review prior shows regarding this, this is the stack of paperwork that my case involved, both my filings and her attorney filings. That case, boy, I'll tell you, has been big. But if you'd like to check out a couple of the other shows and the links, here's the link that you can do that with. You know, it's difficult now to find anyone who hasn't been at least in some degree touched with divorce. I remember in my lifetime when the opposite was true. When I was 4 years old, my folks were divorced, and when I got to grade school, I remember very clearly being the only kid whose parents were divorced for quite some time. Everyone thought that was strange. All my friends whose parents were married, though it was really strange, thought it was really strange to hear my dad and my mom didn't live together, and that's what a divorce was. You really couldn't see your folks at the same time unless you were, being handed off like football. Here, 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 here. That's just the way a kid's life goes with parents who are divorced. Nowadays, it's almost the opposite. It's hard to find anyone who hasn't been touched with the pain of divorce. For those who didn't understand the pain of divorce, there is a greater understanding coming around, I guess, if we want to acknowledge that as a general principle for society. It's important to remember, if you're contemplating divorce, that it's kind of like not going to church versus having a relationship with God. Divorce, especially when children are involved, does not sever the relationship between you and your former spouse, except for maybe one day. You're going to think about them or seeing them come home a few hours before you go to bed. You're not maybe going to hold hands while you walk into a restaurant or go to a show. But that relationship is not severed. That's the part that the divorce really cuts off, is, the parts I mentioned, seeing them home for a few hours, or walking into a restaurant holding their hand, sleeping with them maybe. That's the part of the divorce that gets cut off. If you have kids, you're going to see your former spouse at football games, parent-teacher conferences, and pretty much every holiday during a handoff. So that former spouse is not really going to be gone unless you choose to do something illegal and stupid like running off with the kids, in which case, if you're caught, you'll be a little bit more permanent separation with you and in jail, and your kids really, they won't come visit you that much. For the few that don't know, divorce to me is kind of like eating really burnt pop tarts. It just leaves a bad taste in your mouth, that really never goes away. It's like having a threesome with someone that you just really wish wasn't there. That third party is the judicial court or state. You're thinking about getting a divorce. You just picture you and your spouse naked and getting it on in front of someone you just would be repulsed by, and then you'll begin to understand that burnt Pop-Tart taste in your mouth. I've experienced with this. I've had 3 wives and 3 divorces, and I really don't have anything bad to say about all 3 of them. In fact, truth be told, I love each and every one of them, and in their own rights, they are all very outstanding individuals. The only thing I really didn't like was the divorce. And then I can picture each and every one of them right now. I had me a beautiful blonde and a voluptuous redhead, and one really foxy brunette. And there's one thing that they will all tell you, but I'm not going to tell you that. One really good thing about marriage is it's like a pair of Levi's. There might be a few worn spots and holes, but you just don't want to throw them away because they're so comfortable. Oh, getting a little dizzy in here, think about it. and you know that. You never really do throw them away. Women file 65-70% of the divorces. I think they do it a lot because I think that they think that they can throw away those comfortable Levi's. But the truth of those Levi's they all just get cut up into squares and sewn into the blanket of your life. And that blanket you really can't get rid of. You might drop it one day, but the other 6 days you're going to carry it around with you. Another thought about this before I tell you what happened in my latest divorce is I've thought about this, and I've asked myself the question: on the day the divorce was final, do I think that any of my ex-wives were really happy? Were they really, hysterically, ecstatically happy? Like happy as the day they got married? That's the kind of happy I'm thinking about. That warm feeling of joy and, just so happy. I don't think so. I think our estates would be improved if before you filed the divorce, you really thought that about the day it was going to be final. That you remember it's only one day out of the week really that you're divorcing. The other 6 days you're going to carry that blanket, and unless you think that on the day it's final that you're really going to be happy, you shouldn't do it. I don't think you should do it. I think you have problems, and time, in fact, works things out. It works the rough edges out, and we all have rough edges. You're never really going to marry a better person, you'll find, than when you did when you first married your spouse at his or her best, of course. But you will marry a different set of problems, and that eventually will become your wisdom. You'll recognize that. They outlawed polygamy, but they never outlawed relationships, and they never outlawed divorces. Outlawing any one of them without outlawing the other 2 simply creates a different fork in the river that ends up in the same place. I've had 3 wives legally, and they taught me a whole bunch about humanity, of which I'm extremely grateful for. So I don't have anything bad to report about them, and it's pretty easy for me to say that I still love them. So here's the divorce that never went or had to go to trial, or really ever had to be. I showed you that this is a huge case of papers. However, it did have to be, because if I hadn't have fought and fought hard and fought well, I wouldn't have received what I actually already had. You see, that's the other thing about divorce, is you're going to end up losing. It's only a matter of how much you're going to lose. I, of course, lost a huge amount of time typing that all up. I lost a great person in my life as my wife, but really only for the total of maybe a day. You know, I see her pretty much every day, and my son. The reason is because I wasn't given by the court. I kept what I had. I don't think the court gave me anything. I managed to keep joint legal custody and joint physical custody of my son. He's a great little guy, and who's probably, like me, gonna have a stepmom, maybe even a few stepmoms, and a few half brothers and a couple half sisters. Because I have such cute kids, I just can't stop. I always just say, one more, just want one more. We were able to settle this in our second mediation, and I kept about $30,000 equity out of the house that I actually traded, as she will pay all the medical insurance till he's 18 years. So my portion's all been prepaid. That's all paid for. That equals approximately about $18,000, and we had $3,000 building material bill and about an $8,000 medical bill for his birth, and she'll pay those. So that totals about $30,000. I just invested that back in and paid for my son in advance, and that's okay. I see both of them and her almost every day, so I still have the eye candy. This is good. It's not as good, but you know. Well, we took a little more time with this than I was planning, but I hope that there's some counsel here for those who would hear it. For those who won't hear it, St. Peter is at the gate. He will remove your ears with a very sharp knife. You better hope Jesus is a very short distance away so he can pick it up and heal it for you. And then you'll hear him whisper into your ear, next time, listen to him. I can assure you that your relationship with Jesus 6 days a week is more valuable than going to church 1 day a week. So say your prayers night and morning and all day long. I am a child of God. Now you sing that song, and you hang on, and you thank God for all your many, many blessings. He will see you through every trial that comes your way, and He'll make you a better person every single day. Little footnote here for Mr. Roy D. Cole, who served the petitioner in my divorce proceedings, also known in the past as the fork-tongued piece of lard. He's actually a really good attorney, and I'm kind of like John Madden, you know, when it comes to a big man. I just love a fat man who can score touchdowns, and as a friend, because if you listen closely, you'll find out the very best places to eat for a pretty good price. Mr. Cole shared with me a great secret where you can get all-you-can-eat sushi for like $15. So if any of you need a good attorney, I'm sure you could call Mr. Cole and meet up with him for a little sushi, and he could certainly represent you in a very professional and competent way. I could say I'd much rather have him blocking for me than I'd like having him tackle me. Until next time, I'm Cody Robert Judy. Cowboy up and spur 'em in the guts.